Congratulations, 10 out of 10, and yet again in no mood to get rounds in.
No, I'm glad to get the year out of the way. It's been a busy year.
AJ, here we go, Anthony. It's a 10-round bout with 3 judges at ringside, and there's a very high chance they won't be needed because Anthony will likely shake hands with 2 of them while watching the British heavyweight champion. The story of Joshua 9 fights so far.
I'm glad to be back in Liverpool again. I'm glad that I got the victory as well in good fashion too.
His victims in Britain and ring time, 35 minutes, 13 seconds. 2 rounds of Paul Butlin, Dorian D. 2 iterations. What can Michael Sprott, who has 8 championship-level fights in a long and illustrious career, do to slow down this juggernaut coming in and giving it a go?
Should the referee have stopped it even a little bit sooner?
No. It's a fighting game. He didn't look like he was happy to get stopped. He wanted to carry on, and so did I. Now I've got to go back to the room and do another 9 rounds of pads.
Sprott is merely trying to tell Joshua that he can't have everything his own way. Now, Emu Sprott will give it a goal. He's a proud fighter who has had a lot of success throughout his career, but they're approaching 40.
You're not going to stay and watch the Cleverly Belly fight?
I would love to, but I've got to get back to the change room and cool down and finish off what I started.
You know, I didn't really. I mean, we're looking at 2 men at different stages and ends of his career, but while he's in there, Sprott will give it a goal, and the combination flow early here. Joshua is so buzzing about everything he does, and there's a sense of anticipation here at the arena, as you say that Jim has passed his best moment.
Word for the reception you got here from the Liverpool fans?
Yeah, I think I made my debut on Knockout Scousers a few years ago with Stalker and Anthony Fowler and them lot. So I'm quite familiar with the Scousers as well, so thank you for having me again, and I'm sure I'll see you next year.
Now that it comes through, he's wobbling and shaken, and Joshua is right on him and gets him into serious trouble. Joshua just tees off and says that will do it right there. Beautiful, it need to have happened a little sooner because Skrull was having serious problems. Goodness me, and the referee was seeing the altercation. Me should have stepped in a lot sooner than that. I mean, that shows you the power this man has.
A good move for me to get in there and not do something like that. Someone to take me rounds before we go right in the deep end, at least we'll be well prepared.
That the punch that caused the damage was partially blocked, but it still had the power to knock it. Brought onto his heels, but the referee took far too long there. It was obvious he was almost out of there. I was actually seriously worried. Okay, Big Car's not an athlete. He doesn't get off his mark quickly, but I was really worried for a couple of seconds there. We're dealing with seconds when you look at a young man with the power of Joshua, but once again, that was terrific. But let's face it, an NI pretty much expected absolutely. But again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Jim, that streak of ruthlessness, that right hand, he saw that he'd hurt him. And he just went for the jugular, finished him off, gave him nowhere to hide. He was on him instantly that the punch that caused it was actually partially damaged. But look at the effect I had, now bang. Now we're looking now. A referee should be closer looking to stop this. Their bank didn't look quite as bad in the replay, but there was a couple 2, maybe 3 punches there. There was no need for Michael Sprott to take bang. That's the one that's the job finished, claps. Now, Anthony Joshua gave a fantastic performance. It truly is a perfect 10. 10 battles, 10 stoppages. They're becoming faster, I promise, and that's lowered his average. The fight lasted about 4 minutes, or roughly 90 seconds, and Michael Sprott, poor guy, was in AA as I say. He's a big man, so it takes him a little while to get moving, but fortunately no serious damage is done. He's on his feet now, which is good, and we just see the final punches again, followed by an embrace between the 2 as they move to the middle. But yeah, you can. Those are punches you shouldn't really have been taking big tier. Ladies and gentlemen, how far can Anthony Joshua go? Referee Terry O. Connor stopped the contest with Sprott in no condition to continue, and timekeeper Colin Roberts recorded a time of 1 minute and 26 seconds of the first round. Your winner, who is still undefeated and has a record of 10 fights and 10 victories, is AJ. Anthony is attracting lovers and followers everywhere he goes in the nation, and you can hear just how this Liverpool audience feels about that. You can see why there is so much buzz about Anthony Joshua. Kevin Kingpin Johnson will be discussed next. At the very least, he ought to give him several rounds as he needs them, but isn't currently receiving any. Congratulations, Anthony, 10 out of 10, and yet again, in no mood to get rounds, I'm glad to get the year out the way. It's been a busy year. I'm glad to be back in Liverpool again. I'm glad that I got a victory as well in good fashion too. The referee has stopped it even a little bit sooner. No, it's a fighting game. He didn't look like he was happy to get stopped. He wanted to carry on, and so did I. And now I got to go back to the room and do another 9 rounds of pets. You're not gonna stay and watch the Cleverly belly fight. I would love to. But I got to get back to the change room and cool down and finish off where I started. Word for the reception you got here from the Liverpool fans. Yeah. I think I made my debut on Knockout Scousers a few years ago with Stalker and Anani Fowler and him. So I'm quite familiar with the Scousers as well. So thank you for having me again, and I'm sure I'll see you next year. Have you heard the talk is of a step up in class in January against Kevin Johnson? He's very durable. Yeah. This a perfect 10 for AJ. People need to keep in mind that he had 9 fights coming up, but when he supports you on the ropes and uses his hand speed, nobody in the division will be able to handle that. That will be an amazing adventure. We're watching Kevin Johnson at the O2 on January 31st, and it's a perfect fight for him right now. He's only had 10 fights, so by next summer, I think he'll be ready for anyone in the nation. He's going to be a fantastic fighter, so it will be an amazing journey, and tonight's performance will be flawless once more. Kevin Johnson is extremely resilient. Will you be trying to stop him? I don't want to predict, but I'll train to get in peak shape so that I'll be mentally prepared, and I think I'll be able to defeat him. He's very game. I saw him when I was in the Klitschko camp, and he's very talkative, and he knows how to stay in there. He was in there for 12 rounds with Vali Chisora, who boxed him last time, so it would be wise for me to get in there and avoid doing something like that. At least we'll be ready.